In 2013, I lived in Busan, South Korea. I had a lot of friends over there who were very sexual. I got to hear many stories, very detailed stories, sometimes too detailed. Anyways, so I was sitting with a couple of my friends one day in an apartment. Um, a nice man and a wonderful woman who I love dearly. They're both very sexual people. And they told me about a podcast by Dan Savage they had listened to a night before. They introduced the topic to me by the man saying, "Hey, there's this thing we listened to last night. It sounds really boring. It sounds just like you." Okay, that's a start to a conversation. Thanks, I guess. So they went on to tell me about asexuality, aka, you are not sexually attracted to other people. I was like, okay, maybe. Maybe not. I don't really know. And then things started to kind of click in my head. The fact that when I was kind of seeing two guys, and naturally, let's face it, polyamory doesn't exist, open relationships, whatever. That hurt to say. Um, One of my friends asked me, well, you have to choose one of them. And here's how you choose. Which guy do you want to have sex with? Neither. I have absolutely no interest in having sex with either of them. And also, whenever I made out with somebody, it was nice. It started out nice. Then eventually my mind would go elsewhere, such as taxes, for some odd reason that I cannot fathom why my mind went to that. And things again just started to really click, like, hey, maybe I am this sexuality. And okay, I can go behind this. I started to research it a little bit more and more. I joined asexual communities so I could find out more. I actually hosted talks on sexualities. And coming out to other people was honestly a double edged sword for me. On the one hand, I'm out. I feel great. I feel less broken, which is something that I've dealt with on and off since 2013. Um, Before then, I just always felt broken. Let's face it, I was weird because I didn't want to have sex. Now, on the other side of that double edged sword was the fact that there were a few guy friends in my life who were so offended that I came out as asexual, and it kind of put my friendships into perspective. Wow, I these people weren't actually my friends. They just wanted to get into my pants. That was really upsetting to me. And I also had people who I wasn't sure if they were asexual, but they were suddenly telling me that they were. And it made me nervous. I've had distant family members before who pretended to be gay just to get into girls' pants. I'm very distrusting of people until, I can kind of see for myself. And losing those friends, finding all this out, it made me grow up a lot. I was already an adult by that time, but I feel like this one was kind of like the peak of, okay, nope, here's who your friends actually are, the friends who accept you. One day I was also called a fairy, and the guy who called me that wanted to make the point that no, this was not a homophobic slur at all. No, 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 no. Instead, he called me a fairy because I must be a mystical creature. I can't exist. Somebody who doesn't want sex? Of course I can't exist. Which, of course, I do want to make it clear straight out that some asexuals do want sex, and that is perfectly okay. That is more than okay. I hear it's great. I just don't want it. So definitely, please remember that. After Korea, I came back to the States, decided I hate the Northeast because of snow, moved over to California to become part of the BDSM scene and to not be around snow, basically. And I was there for about 5 years. It was great. There was some problems just with BDSM, some with not. And while I was there, I decided, it's again, go right into the asexual community, which I did. I went hard. I went to meetups, by which, of course, I mean I went to one meetup and I was so offended that I never went back. Gatekeeping is a thing that happens in every single culture, and especially in subcultures, which is outrageous. For example, a lot of people say that asexuals are not queer. We are too straight passing. We are not discriminated against at all. Did you know to legally be married in a few states, you still have to consummate the marriage? Did you know in Russia, I'm not allowed to drive because I have a mental disability? That's absurd. That is completely absurd. So, as I said, I went to this one meetup and gatekeeping happened. I was told that I was not asexual enough. Also, nobody wanted to discuss what was happening in the asexual communities. They just wanted to talk about gaming, which is fine, but that's all that was talked about. Other than, you're into BDSM, you're not really that asexual, which hurt me a lot. And I went on to a website that's kind of like Facebook, but for people who have fetishes and BDSM interests. And I joined the asexuality groups on there, found some people in San Francisco, talked to them, and their reaction to me was, we don't want to talk to other asexuals because of gatekeeping. They were worried that I was there basically to judge them. And I was worried that they were going to judge me, which I felt judged. They didn't want to talk to me. Now, I did meet a bunch of demisexuals when I lived in San Francisco, and they are wonderful people. It made me happy that I had a community that understood what I was. However, they were also kind of gatekeepy in certain ways. And gatekeeping in, again, any culture is not okay. Please do not gatekeep. Please do not tell me that I am not queer. Please do not tell me that I am straight, even though I'm really not, especially if you look at the people I date. Nobody I date, we will never pass as a straight couple. Ever. Just deal with it. Now, one of the reasons that I was so happy about finding out about asexuality and coming out as asexual was, again, I felt less broken. Because it's not really represented in television? Aces. Because, remember, it's a joke. If we don't want to have sex, we're obviously broken. The remake of Charmed, the first episode, they made fun of one of the characters for her virginity, even though she was, I believe, in her 20s. I didn't watch after that first episode, even though I love Charmed. House had an episode where a guy was asexual and his wife. Well, it turned out the guy had issues physically that made him have a low libido, which is not asexual, and the wife just pretended to be asexual. Good representation. And going back to the point about the libido, that has nothing to do with asexuality. Again, a lot of asexuals have sex. A lot of asexuals have that libido. Another problem with me coming out as asexual was nature versus nurture. Was I asexual because of the fact that I was sexually abused as a kid? Or was I born this way? Obviously, I won't know the answer 100% ever, really. But I can very confidently say that it is nature. I was born asexual. Sexual abuse, it happened. It made it so I don't want people touching certain parts of my body. But that's not why I'm asexual at all. And it's a thing that I've had to deal with a lot because I am very open about my abuse and I am very open about my sexuality. So I have a lot of people who, again, go into gatekeeping. I have had other asexuals tell me that I am not asexual because it is a nurture thing of why I became asexual. And again, that's not true. And it hurts because, again, subcultures tend to just really gatekeep each other. Back when asexuality was still, I don't want to say new, but just coming out into the world, when they started going to San Francisco Pride, there's a wonderful documentary where asexual people were handing out pamphlets and a gay person said, "Do not touch me, I do not want to become sick." Like asexuality was contagious. Yeah, right. I am contagious, I guess, now too. And I have had people treat me like that. I have had people, become very distant as soon as they find out, like, oh, yeah, it's that person over there. Yeah, we don't like them because they're weird. They're part of our community, the BDSM community, but they don't want sex. What the why? Why are they even here? And that hurts every single time I hear it. But again, I cannot stress this enough. Not broken at all. And as I mentioned earlier, for the past however many years, I have struggled with the fact, am I broken? Am I not broken? Because sometimes, even though I am very confident in my asexuality, I am perfectly fine with saying what I am, it can still feel like I'm broken. And I hate it so much. Recently, um, as many people know, there's this guy, this wonderful human being, known as Ace Dad, who kind of introduced himself via TikTok, and it kind of gave me faith again because I saw the asexual community kind of gathering among him and talk about that gatekeeping and talk about how it shouldn't be there. And it makes me happy to see somebody who is a bit older. Granted, he's not that much older than me, but still just a tiny bit older, that, he's out. And I'm happy, and I'm hoping that more people who are older than him, older than all of us, can also kind of figure it out and find themselves. But one of the reasons I'm so happy that this particular person exists is that I feel like I can re-find my community. I have avoided the asexual community as a whole for such a long time that I kind of forgot they existed at some point. And this is making me go back into it and rediscover and hopefully learn that the gatekeeping is not there, or at least a lot less than what it was before. Again, my coming out story was somebody telling me that I sounded boring. I want the next person who finds out that they are asexual not to be told that they're boring. I want them to be told, hey, it's this thing. It is a neutral thing. It is not good. It is not bad. It is not boring. It's not exciting. It just is. And I'm really hoping that everybody can understand that. This video is kind of random, kind of long, kind of jumped around everywhere. I don't know. Um, that's all I really got to say about this. Thank you.